Here are 30 most commonly asked scenario-based interview questions, along with detailed answers for cybersecurity interviews. 1. Scenario: company suspects a data breach. Walk through the steps you would take to investigate and respond to this incident. Answer: the first step is to isolate affected systems to prevent further damage. I would then gather evidence by analyzing logs, conducting forensics, and identifying the entry point. Simultaneously, I would notify relevant stakeholders, implement containment measures, and follow the incident response plan to eradicate the threat and recover normal operations. 2. Scenario: you discover an unauthorized device connected to the corporate network. How would you handle this situation? Answer: I would immediately isolate the unauthorized device to prevent it from causing harm. Next, I would investigate the origin and purpose of the device, assess potential vulnerabilities it may exploit, and document the incident. Finally, I would update security policies, conduct a network sweep, and reinforce security awareness training for employees. 3. Scenario: a user reports receiving a suspicious email. Describe the steps you would take to analyze and mitigate the potential threat. Answer: I would first instruct the user not to interact with the email and report it to the security team. Analyzing the email headers, content, and any included attachments or links, I would determine if it's a phishing attempt. If confirmed, I would alert other users, block the sender, and reinforce security awareness training. 4. Scenario: your organization relies on a third-party vendor for a critical service. How would you assess and manage the cybersecurity risks associated with this vendor? Answer: I would conduct a thorough vendor risk assessment, reviewing security policies, compliance with standards, and past security incidents. Implementing contractual obligations for security measures. Regular audits and continuous monitoring would be essential to manage and mitigate potential risks. 5. Scenario: a zero-day vulnerability is identified in a critical system. How would you respond to minimize the impact on the organization? Answer: I would immediately inform the relevant stakeholders, assess the severity and exploitability of the vulnerability, and work with vendors or internal teams to develop a patch or workaround. In the interim, I would implement compensating controls, monitor closely for any signs of exploitation, and communicate transparently with users and management. 6. Scenario: a company is transitioning to a remote work model. Outline the security measures you would implement to ensure the security of remote endpoints and data. Answer: I would enforce the use of VPNs for secure remote access, implement multi-factor authentication, and conduct security awareness training for remote employees. Endpoint protection, regular security updates, and encrypted communication channels would be essential to safeguard against remote threats. 7. Scenario: your organization is a target of a DDoS attack. What steps would you take to mitigate the impact and ensure service availability? Answer: I would work with the ISP and DDoS mitigation service to filter and absorb malicious traffic, ensuring service availability. Implementing rate limiting, load balancing, and configuring firewalls to block malicious IPs would help mitigate the attack. Additionally, communication with stakeholders is crucial to manage expectations during the attack. 8. Scenario: an employee accidentally exposes sensitive data on a public server. How would you respond to contain the incident and prevent future occurrences? Answer: I would immediately revoke access to the exposed data, assess the extent of the exposure, and inform affected parties. Conducting a thorough investigation into the root cause, I would then update security policies, implement additional access controls, and provide additional training to employees to prevent similar incidents in the future. 9. Scenario: a critical system experiences a sudden performance drop. How would you troubleshoot and determine if it's a security incident or a technical issue? Answer: I would start by analyzing system logs and performance metrics to identify any anomalies. If no technical issues are evident, I would conduct a security analysis to check for signs of unauthorized access, malware, or other security threats. Collaboration with system administrators and use of security tools would aid in a comprehensive assessment. 10. Scenario: company wants to implement a secure buy it, bring your own device policy. What security measures would you recommend to balance security and user convenience? Answer: I would recommend implementing mobile device management (MDM) solutions to enforce security policies on buy it devices. This includes device encryption, remote wipe capabilities, and containerization of corporate data. Additionally, establishing clear policies, conducting regular security training, and ensuring compliance with security standards would contribute to a secure buy it environment. 11. Scenario: a new vulnerability is discovered in a widely used software across the organization. Outline the steps you would take to assess and remediate this vulnerability. Answer: I would assess the vulnerability's severity, exploitability, and potential impact on the organization. Prioritize remediation based on criticality, apply patches or workarounds, and conduct thorough testing to ensure system stability. Continuous monitoring for any signs of exploitation and communication with stakeholders about the mitigation efforts are also critical. 12. Scenario: company is migrating its infrastructure to the cloud. How would you ensure the security of data and applications during and after the migration? Answer: I would conduct a comprehensive risk assessment, ensuring that data encryption, access controls, and compliance requirements are addressed during the migration. Implementing cloud security best practices, utilizing cloud-native security tools, and continuous monitoring post-migration would ensure the ongoing security of data and applications in the cloud. 13. Scenario: user reports receiving an email with a ransomware attachment. What immediate steps would you take to contain the incident and prevent further spread? Answer: I would instruct the user not to open the attachment, isolate the affected system from the network, and analyze the ransomware to understand its characteristics. Next, I would identify the entry point, assess the scope of the infection, and work on recovering data from backups. Communication with affected users and stakeholders would be crucial throughout the incident response process. 14. Scenario: an organization is undergoing a merger, and IT systems need to be integrated securely. How would you approach the cybersecurity aspects of this integration? Answer: I would conduct a thorough risk assessment to identify potential security challenges and vulnerabilities during the integration. Collaboration with IT teams from both organizations, enforcing security best practices, and conducting security audits would be crucial. Implementing a phased integration approach with continuous monitoring ensures a secure and smooth transition. 15. Scenario: company's web application experiences a skull injection attack. How would you detect, mitigate, and prevent such attacks in the future? Answer: I would analyze logs to identify the skull injection attempt, immediately implement measures to block the attack, and conduct a thorough code review to identify and patch vulnerabilities. Ongoing web application security testing, input validation, and the use of parameterized queries would be essential to prevent future skull injection attacks. 16. Scenario: a user's credentials are compromised, leading to unauthorized access to sensitive information. How would you respond to the security incident? Answer: I would immediately revoke the compromised credentials, isolate affected accounts, and assess the extent of unauthorized access. Conducting a forensic analysis to determine the entry point, implementing multi-factor authentication, and reinforcing security awareness training for users are key measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. 17. Scenario: new malware variant is affecting endpoints in the organization. Outline the steps you would take to analyze and mitigate the impact of this malware. Answer: I would isolate affected endpoints to prevent the spread of malware, analyze its characteristics, and update antivirus signatures or deploy endpoint detection and response editor solutions. Conducting a root cause analysis, identifying the initial infection vector, and updating security controls. And employee training would be crucial to mitigate the impact and prevent future infections. A team scenario: a company's sensitive data is stored in the cloud, and there's a concern about unauthorized access. How would you enhance the security of this data in the cloud environment? Answer: I would ensure data encryption at rest and in transit. Implement access controls and identity management solutions, and regularly audit and monitor access logs. Utilizing cloud security services, configuring proper security groups, and conducting regular vulnerability assessments would enhance the overall security posture of sensitive data stored in the cloud. 19. Scenario: an employee accidentally clicks on a malicious link, leading to a potential malware infection. Walk through the steps you would take to identify and contain this incident. Answer: I would immediately disconnect the affected system from the network. Conduct a malware analysis to identify its characteristics, and update antivirus signatures or deploy endpoint protection solutions. Analyzing network logs, identifying the entry point, and informing affected users while reinforcing security awareness training are critical steps to contain and mitigate the incident. 20. Scenario: company wants to implement a secure password policy. What recommendations would you provide to create strong and enforceable password practices? Answer: I would recommend implementing a policy that enforces complex passwords, regular password changes, and the use of multi-factor authentication. Conducting user training on password security, implementing account lockout policies, and utilizing password management tools would contribute to a strong and secure password policy. 21. Scenario: an organization uses IoT devices extensively, and there are concerns about their security. How would you assess and enhance the security of IoT devices within the network? Answer: I would conduct a thorough assessment of IoT devices, ensuring they are properly segmented from critical systems. Implementing network-based security controls, ensuring devices have updated firmware and patches, and utilizing intrusion detection systems to monitor IoT traffic are essential measures. Additionally, user training on IoT security risks would contribute to a holistic approach. 22. Scenario: a company's critical server experiences a sudden increase in traffic, indicating a potential botnet attack. How would you respond to detect and mitigate this attack? Answer: I would analyze server logs to identify patterns consistent with a botnet attack, implement rate limiting and traffic filtering, and work with the ISP to block malicious IPs. Utilizing intrusion prevention systems and conducting thorough forensic analysis to understand the attack's origin and methods would contribute to the effective detection and mitigation of the botnet attack. 23. Scenario: a user reports suspicious behavior on their computer, suggesting a possible insider threat. How would you investigate and respond to this scenario? Answer: I would isolate the user's system, collect relevant logs and user activity data, and conduct a thorough investigation into the reported behavior. Analyzing user access patterns, communication, and involvement in sensitive activities would help identify potential insider threats. Coordinating with HR, legal, and management, I would implement necessary controls and, if needed, escalate the incident for further action. 24. Scenario: company's network experiences a advanced persistent threat apt attack. How would you respond to identify and mitigate this sophisticated threat? Answer: I would deploy advanced threat detection tools and conduct continuous monitoring to identify the tactics, techniques, and procedures TTPs of the apt. Collaborating with threat intelligence sources, isolating compromised systems, and implementing threat hunting techniques would be crucial. Additionally, regular security audits and updates to security controls are essential to mitigate the impact of persistent apt attacks. 25. Scenario: a company's development team is using open source libraries extensively. How would you ensure the security of these libraries and prevent potential vulnerabilities? Answer: I would implement a comprehensive open source software OSS security policy. Regularly update and patch libraries, and conduct code reviews to identify vulnerabilities. Utilizing software composition analysis tools, monitoring security mailing lists for library updates, and educating developers on secure coding practices contribute to the overall security of applications relying on open source libraries. 26. Scenario: company experiences a sudden surge in phishing attacks targeting employees. How would you enhance security awareness and prevent successful phishing attempts? Answer: would conduct targeted phishing awareness training for employees, simulating realistic scenarios and providing immediate feedback. Implementing email filtering solutions, regularly updating and testing incident response plans, and promoting a culture of skepticism and reporting would be essential measures to enhance security awareness and prevent successful phishing attempts. 27. Scenario: a critical web application experiences a data breach, and customer information is compromised. How would you respond to this incident and communicate with affected parties? Answer: I would immediately isolate and investigate the affected systems, work on containing the breach, and notify relevant stakeholders, including legal, PR, and affected customers. Communicating transparently about the incident, providing guidance on actions customers should take, and implementing additional security measures, such as enhanced monitoring and identity protection services, would be crucial to rebuild trust and mitigate further risks. 28. Scenario: a company wants to implement a secure network architecture. What design principles and security controls would you recommend to create a resilient and secure network? Answer: I would recommend implementing network segmentation, using firewalls to control traffic, and deploying intrusion detection and prevention systems. Additionally, enforcing the principle of least privilege, utilizing strong encryption for data in transit, and regularly conducting security assessments would contribute to a secure and resilient network architecture. 29. Scenario: a company is planning to roll out a new software application. How would you ensure the security of the application throughout its development lifecycle? Answer: I would integrate security into the software development lifecycle, conducting regular code reviews, implementing secure coding practices, and using static and dynamic application security testing tools. Continuous monitoring of the application, penetration testing, and ensuring compliance with security standards contribute to building a secure application from the development stage. 30. Scenario: a company experiences a critical infrastructure failure due to a cyber attack. Walk through the steps you would take to recover from this incident and strengthen resilience against future attacks. Answer: I would initiate the incident response plan, focusing on restoring critical services, conducting a post-incident analysis, and implementing improvements. This includes identifying the attack vector, closing vulnerabilities, and updating security controls. Implementing a business continuity plan, enhancing employee training, and collaborating with relevant authorities would contribute to a comprehensive recovery strategy and increased resilience against future cyber attacks. For more exciting tips, tricks, and more importantly, for valuable insights of interviews, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel. It has a lot of valuable information about various insights of interviews. It has a wide range of real-world portfolio projects of various technologies for interviews, and it has wide range of most asked interview questions and answers of various technologies like data science, SAP, AWS, DevOps, and full-stack web development, and more. That will be useful during interviews. It has a wide range of most asked interview questions and answers, and real-world portfolio projects of various technologies for freshers. For 2 to 3 years, experienced candidates, and for 5 or above years, experienced candidates to test their skills by knowing most asked interview questions and make themselves ready for interviews.